Reminds me of the story of Joseph. I mean, Joseph, if you think about it, he has this dream. He didn't go out searching for it. He didn't make this happen. God gave him a dream that, in essence, his family would bow down and worship him. And, you know, back then, he didn't have social media or ways to talk about it and get it out there. And, you know, I think we're quick to get down on Joseph, that he was kind of like being a little bit of a jerk to his family, being a little pompous. But, you know, if you have this dream that you believe God has given you, wouldn't you want to share that with your family? So I don't know. I think that's another side of it, too, we don't always think about. And he's sharing that with his family. And, you know, I think the fault, if there was fault, was on his dad, because his dad was showing him extreme favoritism, which that does not bode well for a family. So he's already being showed favoritism, and then he shares this dream that his family's going to worship him, and that just pushes his brothers over the edge. So Joseph, his brothers, they take him and they throw him in a pit, and they're just going to let him die. I mean, that's a big deal. Your own brothers take you and throw you in a pit and say, we're done with you, you're dead. And they're willing to lie to their father, cover his coat in blood, and lie to their father and live with that lie for the rest of their lives. But then they see some cousins of theirs, some distant relatives of theirs on their way to Egypt, and they say, hey, let's not just kill him, let's make some money off him. I mean, that's even worse, right? I mean, hey, if he's going to die, let's at least get some money out of this little brother. And so they sell him into slavery, know that he's just doomed in Egypt. Joseph finds his way to Potiphar's house, and he's a servant there. Joseph, in slavery, does not become bitter. Why am I here? Why has God put me in this place? He serves with such distinction that he is made the head of Potiphar's household. He's faithful. If you're allowing the circumstances of your life to just make you bitter right now, you have a God problem, in that you have a problem with God. Because he's still on the throne, and if you're in a circumstance you don't like, he's trying to do something in that. And so you better stop getting bitter about it and start asking God, how do you want me to praise you in this? Because, see, Joseph was found faithful, and he was exalted to a place of leadership only to have the master's wife lie about him when he was being a man of integrity. You see, the pride of life says, well, I'm doing right, so I should be blessed and everything should go my way. And if I have any problems in my life or my family, that's just not fair. When you find that verse in the Bible, you show me it, okay? Joseph, he's going through difficulty. He's doing right. He's lied about when he's doing right. He's put into prison for doing the right thing. He's put into prison. Are you with me on this little journey here? But what happens in prison? He meets the king's cupbearer and the king's baker. Now listen to me. If Joseph had stayed with Daddy in a foreign land, would he ever have met Pharaoh's baker or cupbearer? Where did he have to go to meet them? The prison. No way a Hebrew, a young boy, would have met them. And why did he need to meet them? Because in prison they had dreams, and Joseph interpreted the dreams, and those dreams came to pass, and one was killed, the baker, and the cupbearer was exalted. And the dreams that Joseph interpreted came to pass, but the cupbearer forgot about Joseph until Pharaoh had a dream. And he said, oh, I've done wrong. I forgot about that boy. I was supposed to remember him. And he remembers Joseph to Pharaoh. And Joseph comes before the king, and Joseph interprets the dream for the king. And you remember what happened with the dream? There were years of plenty before years of famine. And so Joseph tells Pharaoh, this is what the dream means. And during these years of plenty, you better be setting aside grain so that you will not starve in the years of famine. And because of the wisdom that God had given him, Pharaoh made Joseph the number 2 man in the land. Would Joseph ever have become the number 2 man in Egypt if he had stayed with Daddy? No! And why did that matter? Because if Joseph had not told Pharaoh to set aside grain during the years of the plenty, who would have starved to death? Joseph and his family. You follow me? But we gripe and we complain because life isn't fair. Joseph needed to be sold. He needed to have his character impugned, and he needed to go to prison so that through that he could end up at the right hand of Pharaoh to save many. And that's why when his family comes to him and they're afraid, Joseph says, don't be afraid. You meant it for harm. You tried to do wrong, but God meant it for good. Back to what I said. If Jesus is on the throne, if he's king, you may not like, I'm not even asking you to like it. But wherever you're at, it's where God has you to be now. And so you better get praising him because he's doing something. He is doing something that our small minds just can't understand in the moment.